Perfect.
Oh man. Well, so I'm gonna take a second here and kind of drop a little knowledge on y'all. So I've said many times that my daughter plays high level travel softball, and man, we spent a lot of time, she and I, working and hitting and traveling and doing lots of things and running her all over the place. Pretty much just helping her live her best life. You got to be there for your kids, right? Whatever they want to do, you got to support them. And in doing all that, it's never allowed me a lot of time to work on my stuff, my personal projects like the War Machine or my woodworking projects, or I make time to do the bat videos because they do really well. But man, I know for you guys watching these videos, it seems like I'm just rolling along the whole time. But the reality of it is, this year has just been really tough. We've just been super, super busy, and I've really struggled to get time to work on this. I know all these videos go together, and it looks like I'm just kind of working on it every few days. Now, y'all have heard me say numerous times in the past that I keep a large backlog of video. That way I can try to keep consistently putting out episodes, and that has worked out well. It has worked out well for me. I don't think I'm in danger of catching that at this point in time, but just kind of giving you a little insight. Like when we first went over starting to do the back end of the truck here, starting suspension, in my mind, I know that this is something that if I could get in here and work, if I had a week straight, I could have it done, no problem. But the problem is this year, the way things have worked out, it may go a week and I just walk by this thing. It may go 2-3 weeks sometimes. When I first started and we went over all this and I did the video where I drew it all out on the whiteboard and everything, that was literally 6 months ago at this point. I know that sounds crazy, but that just shows you how distracted I've been. I come down a lot of nights and I want to work on it. I'm about to die to work on it. I want this thing, I want to drive it. It's been so long in the making. And, I come down here and I think, I could work for a good hour. And then it takes me 20 minutes to figure out what I was doing last time. Hell, a lot of times I have to go back to my phone and watch the last video that I made so I can see what I was talking about last, so I can see where I'm going to pick up and start over or start back going. And then by the time I sit here and I stare at it and I brainstorm for another 20-25 minutes trying to get a plan for what I'm thinking I want to do, what my plan of attack for achieving that is, then by the time I get to that, I've got 15 or 20 minutes to do some work. And as we all know, at that point in time, you just go, screw it. You throw your hands up and you go back in the house and you take a shower and you eat dinner and you call it a night and you don't make it back to it. It's been a struggle. I mean, it really has. I know I've been working on this truck for a long time, but this last chunk right here has been a struggle to really get in here and really get going on it. Like I said, when you get in here and I don't have much time to work, it's tough to get started on a big section of it. I've rethought the plan 8 times of how I want to do it from what we drew out on the whiteboard. I've changed that plan. Like I said, I've probably changed it 8 times. Now I'm going to do this. This will be easier. I'm going to do that. That'll be easier. And it's one of them deals, like I said, early on in the build, some days you just have to start. You just have to get going. And believe it or not, just to take the time to set up the camera and try to figure out what I'm going to say, to video it all, a lot of times discourages me to even get going on it, because it's tough, because a lot of times I try to get my game plan off camera before I get going. That way I don't seem like a complete goon when I get on camera and I'm sitting there scratching my head going, what was I thinking? I don't know. Sometimes I just say screw it. I don't even do anything. Now, I'm gonna get out of that. I don't know why. I've let that really hold up the project the last couple weeks. I've got to get back on it. I'm excited. I'm as excited as ever to work on it. It's just been tough to get there. So what I have done off camera, preparing myself, I have gone on. I've got a template made for how I want my cross member to be. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to lay this. I'll show you my template. And we're going to lay it on this piece of steel right here, and we're going to start making it. And we're just going to start back at the beginning, right? You got to start. So I'm going to, get remotivated here to get going on this. No, softball isn't over. No, my daughter hasn't stopped playing. Thank goodness. I hope she plays for a long time to come. I don't know if maybe I'm just getting older and losing my motivation a little bit. It's hard. A lot of times these projects do drag out like this, and that's why I know a lot of projects never get finished, just for that reason, because when they do drag on and on and on and on and on, it's easy to lose motivation. And, in our mind, it's just going to take, I can have that done in 6 or 8 months. But, you get distracted, family life, kids, all that gets in the way. And I've said numerous times throughout this build that, stuff like this, it takes a long time. They don't happen as quickly as we'd like them to. They damn sure don't happen as quickly as they do on TV shows or YouTube channels. Like, I watch Cletus McFarland and I watch Goon Squad, and, those guys, they're very fortunate. They've built their channels to the point where they can do this full time. I would give anything to be able to do this full time. The amount of cool stuff that I could build would be innumerable. I could build you wouldn't believe the things that I could come up with to build. I've got projects stacked up outside my house left and right. I have enough work to last me probably the rest of my lifetime. And I would love every second of it. But this is where I'm at, especially right now. It's the middle of summer. It's hot. I work in the heat, so when I come home a lot of days, I just don't even feel like doing anything. But we got to get back. We got to start, right? I got to get back focused. I got to get back going. Once I get back going on it again, I'll be reinvigorated and get going. I just kind of wanted to just stop and take a hot second and acknowledge that it does happen. Burnout is a real thing on any project, especially one I will be the first to admit. In my mind, I saw this truck getting done a long, long time ago. And, I vastly underestimated the scope and scale of this project. It's man, I myself go back and watch my old videos of when I first started this, one, so I can look at how bad they were, because they were not good in the beginning. Not that they're the best now, but they're better than they were then. But also to just look back and see how far I've come and know that, man, I mean, the end really is near. It really, really is. I just got to get in here and finish the stupid thing. And it's not going to wind up in a scrapyard somewhere. I'm not going to sell it to somebody half done. I'm going to finish this damn thing, and you're going to finish it with me. So I'm going to use this camera as motivation at this point, and we're going to beat burnout. We're going to beat project burnout here. So I got my piece of metal sitting right here. We'll move over to the workbench, and I'll show you my idea for my cross member, and we're going to start cutting some stuff out, and we're going to get back going. We're going to start. All right, so here we are. This is our cross member. Well, what's going to be our cross member anyway. Now, you probably can't see this right here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I have my center line marked right here on this bad boy. Now, this is the 2x4, 3x, wow, what the hell size was this? 2x6? It is 3x6. The 3x6 tubing that I had left over from my house that I am just going to keep repurposing as much of the stuff as I can. Spray painted it black because if you remember, it had that light coating of rust and crap all over it. So I went over to grinder off camera and kind of knocked all that crud off of it, spray painted it black so it wouldn't rust back up. So have my center line marked. Now, like I said, I did take some time off camera and I made this guy. This is my cardboard template of what I intend for this bad boy to look like once we get done cutting it all out. Now, on this side, I've already got my center line on it. So it's actually cut pretty much, it's cut to like perfectly exact. So when I set it on there and I kind of hold my fingers on the ends there. My center line does line up exactly where it's supposed to be. Now what I will do is move this, actually. Here's what I want. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Why is it that any flat surface in a shop becomes a catch-all? You just leave crap everywhere, all over. All right, so back to what I'm saying. So I'm gonna set this joker flat against the top, and I'll move him up against it right there. Same here. So now I know I'm dead on balls flush to the top. I'm flush there. So now I'm gonna get my pen and I'm gonna go on, I'm gonna mark all this stuff out so we can figure out where we're gonna make the cuts. Now, what we'll have to do with this, once we get all of these cuts made, obviously you don't understand what the cuts are for at this point because you didn't see me set it in the frame. I will show you that here in just a bit. So, if I remember correctly, I'm actually gonna have to go back over there. Remember what I told you about, you know, working on stuff here, there, and yonder, and it being like a long time in between? I'm gonna go and mark this all off right now, but I'm gonna have to go put this back inside the frame so that I can understand again exactly, because I think this opening in the middle right here, I don't think it actually has to be that big. So I'm gonna mark all this and then we'll go over to the frame and I'll show you this kind of sitting in there. Then we can all figure it out again together, I guess. So I'm gonna use this pen. It's got a pretty good tip on it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty damn good. And I'm gonna mark it, which it doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not gonna make a perfect cut, no way. But I can get it close. That's the plan anyway. So get all this marked. And yes, once I cut this, obviously the bottom side of this will be opened up. And I will come back and close it up, obviously, because it wouldn't be that strong if we just left the open of it bottom, or left the bottom of it open like a big piece of C-channel. So let's see here. This thing is going to be really cool, the way it fits. I stared at this for many hours, going back and forth, trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. So I think y'all really like it. So let's see here. All right, so let's go over to the truck. Okie dokie. So, I think I'm envisioning putting this in right here. I've got a mark on the frame. Looks to be the same on the other side. So I'm going to say that's what I'm envisioning. So, this is the top. This is the bottom. Obviously, I made this arch in it so it'd have extra clearance for the drive shaft. Because if you remember right now, this would be full bump. I've got my drive shaft sitting on a jack stand right here right now. And it's just barely above what it would be at the absolute lowest point. So I've designed this thing, if I remember correctly, this should sit on top of the frame rail, and that should sink this all down to the frame rail where I want it to. Now, I think originally I was thinking I had a cut made right here that was just thick enough for the frame rail to go in, but I wound up wanting it to sit deeper into the frame rail, so I just cut it out more. So what we're gonna actually do, if I remember this correctly, this is going to sit on the top of the rail, and then basically I'm going to measure down probably a ½ inch and then make a mark that's going to come across here. So we'll actually leave a large area in here. So we kind of sit this guy in here. It's going to go in just like this. It's going to clear, come in, and then bang. It will sit just like that on the frame rail. Now, that looks pretty damn swanky, and I like it a lot. So, yes, so what I'll do is I'm going to come down probably, like I said, a ½ inch from this mark, and I'm going to make a mark on my piece of steel over there. That way I'll know that I'm going to actually leave that part filled in. And then once I get it set in here, I'll come back with some plate and we'll fill it all the way in. That way we can weld it all the way down the inside of the frame rail and tie it all together. So, gives you a little bit better idea. This is for our center line. This would be, if I remember correctly, the center line of where our hind joints need to be for our triangulated link there. So, and that's if I still do it that way, because now I'm, originally I wanted to do 2 in the center and have them going out to the just on the other side of the pump on either side, but now I'm entertaining the idea of possibly building an arch over the axle and coming to the outside edges right here, kind of give me a little bit more clearance there. It's going to be kind of hard to fit these in where I want right here. So we're going to figure that out as we go. Like I said, over the last several months, I've had time to think and rethink and overthink all of this. So we just got to start. So we're going to start by making this cross member. So first thing I've got to do now is go up here, change my lines on this, and then get on the, figure out if I'm going to use a plasma cutter or if I'm going to use my cold saw, or exactly how I'm going to go about cutting this out, because obviously I've got it traced on one side. I've got to flip it over and just do the exact same thing on the other side, because I've got to make all those same cuts. So I'm going to measure and get these marks made, and then we'll see what I come up with to hack this dude out with.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like, whoa. Upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I hit record a drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets. When I'm performing, never boring, now you can't afford it. Champagne Perrier, vintage friends on my face, looking like I'm from the deep. These no Cartiers, pockets deep, 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 bro. I can make it in my seat, bro. Do you, I'm doing me, bro. Making noise, use a beat, bro. Whoa, whoa. I press the button and the doors go off like, whoa. That money clip.
Ta-da! So, as you can see, I got this thing all hacked out. Are my cuts perfect? Absolutely not. But I will say, if I stand this here template up next to it, it is pretty damn close. I am super happy with how it turned out. Now, I did go ahead and test fit it in the frame. It does sit in there nice, exactly the way I want. Now, I am toying with doing a few different things. As you know, when you build a custom project, as things go, we start out with a plan, which is on that board, but we're gonna veer off from that plan along the way. You know, my mind wanders and maybe I come up with a better idea. Maybe I come up with something I think is a better idea that's really not. But anyhow, that's what I'm rolling with. So what I got is, and I don't remember if I showed this to y'all already or not. This is like a, it's for kind of like a DIY 4-link thing that you can buy. I forget what the name of the company is I bought it from. Rough Stuff Off-Road, maybe? That sounds like it might be right. Now granted, yes, I can make every one of these pieces. I have the steel here to do it. It's not really a big deal. However, I think I bought this entire bracket that all fits together like this. And I think I got the whole thing for, I mean, like 25 bucks or something like that. I'm a pretty good fabricator, but it ain't worth $25 for me to sit here and cut all this crap out and drill all these holes and everything. So I'm gonna try to go ahead and use this. I hope you can see it. I got it all put together. Let's see here. Golly. Okay, now I know you can see it. So, as you can see, it all sits together and you basically, you know, it kind of interlocks to itself and you can come through and then you weld it all up. And it's actually designed, ooh, shut up. It's actually designed to sit on a piece of tubing, as you can see right there. You would weld it all up, weld it to your piece of tubing with it on center. Your heim joints will fit in there. It's got all the holes drilled. Pretty swanky little deal. So what I'm thinking, because I'm not gonna put it on a piece of tubing, so what I did is I laid this piece over top of this bottom piece, and basically this line represents the exact length of this piece right here. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut this thing along this line. Then I'm going to come in here where these other little pieces are rounded off. So I can pick it up off here now. That's kind of, it interlocks together really good. It's actually, it's really nice. I mean, I kind of wish I could use it the way it is, but it's just not going to kind of fit for what I'm going to do. That stupid little brush is not really getting the job done for what I'm trying to do right now. There we go. All right, so I'm going to come along and I'll cut all of those. That way there will be kind of flat with the end of this as well. So then what I'm thinking is that maybe once that is all cut off flat, that I can be able to find the center line of this bracket here, which I've actually got marked right there, bring this guy up against it, tack it in place, stick it all on the truck, tack it in place, so that then I can kind of see where our arms will sit on the top, so I can get the right degree of offset so that it triangulates correctly. So next move right now, first things first, I'm going to go ahead off camera, I'm going to cut out the steel, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in this gap under the bottom right here. That way we stay nice and strong, put our strength back into our cross member. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I'm going to go ahead and lop this off, and I'll probably go ahead and kind of stick this together and cut those little pieces off. Like you've all seen me use my plasma cutter 100 times. Nothing new here. I'm just going to chop some stuff off and just kind of save a little bit of time, but we can see a little bit more fabrication and building. So when we come back, I'll go on, I'll have this boxed in, that way it'll be done, and we'll be ready to kind of start tacking all this stuff together. You can kind of see a little bit more what I'm thinking. A little easier maybe to see than to hear. Hopefully I'm descriptive enough. If not, you'll see real soon. So we'll be back in, I don't know, like a millisecond. All right, so check it out. So I got my center section all made and welded in, and it kind of occurred to me when I was kind of measuring and making this piece where I screwed up when I was doing the C-notch, you know, because when I cut and I broke the metal over, that one turned out to be too wide. And I was able to fix it. It wasn't a big deal, but we're going to take the time to break the steel and kind of make it like it's all one piece and everything. Really wanted to be one piece, right? So when I was measuring this, it occurred to me where I screwed up. When breaking the piece that's going to go inside, okay, and I'm measuring it from the inside here, I think it was like 15 and we'll just call it 15 and a quarter, just because I don't remember what the actual number was. Well, let's say it's 15 and a quarter. Well, since we're going inside, where I'm actually, and this is 1/4 inch material, where I'm actually making the bend is going to be 1/4 inch farther in on each side, because it's 1/4 inch material. I didn't figure for that when I was working on the C-notch. So I did account for that when I made this piece. I accounted for it. I took off 1/4 inch on each side. I broke the metal to the proper angle of the bend. This thing fit in here, like, I mean, perfectly. I set that dude right in there, was able to weld it in, no problem. Came out fantastic. Now I'm gonna take a flat disc and just kind of run over this and polish it up right quick. But I just wanted to kind of show y'all and explain to you, you know, what I did and what I figured out along the way. Now, the way that what I did was I actually measured the entire length of this each and then added it all up. And I cut my piece just a little bit long because I don't want to take a chance on it being short and I have a big old gap that I got to try to fill up. So what I did in this deal was, like I said, I cut the piece long. Well, then I came back and I measured my distance between these two bends. Okay, like I said, call it 15 and a quarter. So then I came back and I marked my dead center right here on the piece of metal. Then I took half of the 15 and a quarter, which was, what is that, 7 and 5/8, I guess. I measured out to each side from the center line right here. I measured out. That's where I made my marks, where I know where to bend, so that once I bent it, I dropped it in here. I could kind of trim a little bit. I think I had to trim not much, maybe a 1/4 inch off each end, because like I said, I cut it long on purpose. Cut that off, bam, set it right in here, fit like a glove, welded in, super nice. So next up, we got, you remember the bracket assembly deal that I bought? I went ahead, the piece that was kind of cut and had the angle, I went ahead, I got this piece cut, and I marked all the little pieces that went inside of it. I'm gonna go cut them right quick, then we'll come back, we'll kind of sit all that together. Kind of, you remember, it should snap all together because the way it kind of made like Legos, where it all fits. So then I'm gonna go in and cut those, stick that together, we'll come back and I'll show you kind of what I'm envisioning that thing sitting on here like. I got a couple of different ideas, but right now this is the one I'm running with. And so I'm gonna clean this off right quick, then I'm gonna go cut those pieces and we'll come right back and I'll show you what I'm working with. Okay, so I'm back. So here we go. So I went around, kind of just knocked the top off of this, clean it up a little bit. Now you can see, I went ahead, I ground the paint off of this spot right here so I could see really good. And put me a mark right here, ground the paint off because I want to put a black mark on there because I hate that damn red pen that I have. Anyhow, You'd think I would have bought another one at this point, but I have a problem throwing away things that aren't used up, even though I hate the color. Moving on. Got me a black mark put on there. This marks my center line, okay? So the way this is going to go in the truck, this will be the bottom of it. I don't know if you remember when I set the cardboard template in there or not, but if not, you'll see in a minute. So this will be the bottom of it. So what I want to do is I want my links to be as low on this as possible to help get the proper angle that I want. I want the links as flat as possible when the truck is at ride height. That's kind of my goal. Well, in order to do that, I need to get the links as low as possible. Now, obviously, I am doing the narrow part of the triangle at the front. If I were doing it on top of the axle, this would be a little bit easier. I don't want to have to go bend a piece of tubing and build an arch over the axle. Just never been a super huge fan of that in this type of setup because of the leverage that it gives it. I know a lot of people do it and have a lot of success. Maybe I'm just being stupid and hard-headed. I don't know. I want to try to do it this way. If it don't work and have to do it the other way, say it. All right, well, sorry to kind of cut you off short right there. Well, I say cut it off short. We're going on like 27, 28 minutes right now. If you hung out to this point, thanks a ton. I sure do appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the content. This episode was about building a cross member, yes, but more than anything was about kind of showcasing project burnout and how common of a thing that is, and just like I said, to address it. Anybody that works on a big project, we all go through it. Most of us have to work a day job every day and don't just get to do things like this all day, every day, and it's easy when it stretches out over time for life to get in the way. I just want to point out that, it happens to everybody. I fix cars every day, all day, and it's the same thing, and it's monotonous, and we want to work on our custom stuff when we get home, but then sometimes you just don't feel like it. But it does happen. We did make progress in this episode. We got some really cool cross member in the making. Next, we got to work on our 4-link mounts and kind of start wrangling in the rear end of this thing. So hope you come back for the next one. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thank you so much. We'll see you in 94, episode 94.